Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeepertoby here. Ash and Red. Red appears in the latest trailer for Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Ash Greninja appears in the demo. So how can this be? More on this theory in a moment, but first I have to thank the sponsors of today's Pokemon theory, and that is Pokemon Sun and Moon Amino. Pokemon Sun and Moon Amino is an app for iOS and Androids. Links to the app and Google Play Store, of course, are at the top of the description. This app allows you to join communities and connect with fans of Pokemon Sun and Moon, including myself. I have an account on there, which is Birdkeepertoby, where we can discuss theories, post artwork, create forums, talk about our teams. I will be engaging with this app, talking about the teams that I have during the week of Sun and Moon and onwards. And the Pokemon Sun and Moon Amino is part of a larger collection of Amino community apps. Amino apps have sponsored me in the past to talk about the Pokemon Amino. I'm also involved with the Zelda Amino, Fallout Amino. We even have a Birdkeepertoby Amino. That was created by one of you because yes, if there is a community that you feel like should exist but doesn't, well, guess what? You can create your own. But the Pokemon Sun and Moon one is the main one I'm going to be using during the next sort of period of time while Sun and Moon is going on. So go ahead and join this community. While Sun and Moon's out, I'm going to be talking about my teams and discussing my adventure, and I'd love to hear about yours. And so for all things Sun and Moon, this is the best way to contact me. So thank you again to the incredible Pokemon Sun and Moon Amino apps for sponsoring this video and today's Pokemon theory, which is a Pokemon Sun and Moon theory about Red and Ash. Let's go. Backtracking just a little, we have all thought for the longest time, but collectively as a community, that Ash is another version of Red. The two characters are the same but different, existing in parallel universes. Ash, of course, being in the show, but Red being in Pokemon Origins or in the games. They're essentially different versions of the same character. But Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is coming out very, very soon, that rhymed. Well, that has kind of disproven the whole thing, with Ash Greninja and Red being in the same game. How is this even possible? Before I get into some explanations, let me just remind you that there is a Pokemon Sun and Moon giveaway going on until Pokemon Sun and Moon's release. I've had it going on this channel for ages. You leave a like and a comment on any of my videos with Sun and Moon in the title, and that's an entry. And then someone will be picked, and yes, it's worldwide. Right, let's get on with the theory. And I say theory, I actually mean 3 theories, because this video doesn't come to one conclusive answer, it comes to 3 pretty good adequate answers, I think, that explain the goings-on of having Ash Greninja and Red in the same universe. So I'll tell you the 3, I'll tell you which is my favourite, and you'll have to let me know which is yours, which, hey, that can be your comment. So, solution number 1. Ash doesn't exist in Pokemon Sun and Moon. He only exists in the non-canon Pokemon Sun and Moon demo. So the way you acquire the Ash Greninja is through the Pokemon Sun and Moon special demo version, and similar to how you could get Omega Glalie or Steelix, depending on where you lived, from the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire special demo version. These demos are kind of an intro to the game, but the plot points, they don't play out the same way that the actual games do. And in this demo, you get sent an Ash Greninja right at the beginning from an unmarked character, which we assume is Ash. And I'm going to go right ahead and assume that that is not what happens at the beginning of the actual Sun and Moon, meaning the Pokemon Sun and Moon demo isn't part of the same canon, it's actually part of a separate canon, a separate parallel universe. Hey, maybe all the demos happen in the same universe, who knows? Now, we know the Pokemon Multiverse is a thing already. There's lots of different versions of reality going on. So there's Ruby and Sapphire, they're parallel universes. But then Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire are other parallel universes. But by extension, you've also got the show is a totally separate universe, and Origins is a totally separate universe. And it's my belief that maybe that this demo version is just another one of those. One where instead of Red, Ash exists. So yes, absolutely, in the demo, Ash is totally a part of the game, but in the main game, it's Red instead of Ash. And given that there's always been the ability to trade between interdimensional games, well, sending over your Ash Greninja to the main game is just another version of that. And that can make sense as to how you can have Ash Greninja in the main games where Red exists. Of course, that's just option number 1. Because if you decide that actually no, the demo is part of the same canon as the games, then option number 2 is that it's not Ash's Greninja, it's Red's Greninja. I mean, yes, we know it as Ash's Greninja, but that's because we are higher beings who are able to observe the shows and the games and all of those universes at once, kind of godlike, and we just happen to see it in the show first. So it's easiest for us to just equate it to Ash's Greninja, but really in terms of the canon of the game, it's Red's Greninja. I mean, let's face it, the only thing that really makes that transformation special is the hair at the side of Greninja's face, and hey, Red still has that hair. Now, of course, in the demo, your main character receives it from someone who doesn't mark their name, which is interesting because Red also doesn't make a lot of statements himself. And given that your character moved to the Alola region from Kanto, could it be possible that your character is Red's son? And that he's passing down the Greninja to his son? Or maybe not even that, just a friend from Kanto. There is one problem in this though, and that is when Greninja uses Battle Bond and transforms into Ash Greninja, on the screen it visibly says Ash Greninja. Surely in the games it would say Red's Greninja if this is the case. I don't think that's necessarily true, because the character in the game doesn't experience that line of text. The character walking around with their Pokemon sending out Greninja, it doesn't see the text that says Battle Bond or Ash Greninja. That is there for our benefit, again, as players of the game. The characters don't see it, so it's not part of the actual canon of the games. Rather, it's just there as an expositional thing to help us out. So it's saying Ash Greninja because that's what we know it looks like, because it's Ash Greninja, but really in terms of the game's lore, it's Red's Greninja. Of course, maybe you don't buy that, and that's okay because there is option number 3. And that is, of course, that Ash and Red do exist in the same universe. And I can't tell you how much I hate this idea, but my feelings about it aside, it makes a lot of sense. As I say, the way I've seen it, you've got these two characters, they're a little bit the same, but a little bit different. They both started off in Pallet Town, you know, with a Pikachu. I mean, depending on which version you're looking at, whether you're looking at the Origins version, or the manga version, or the game version. Point is, characters are similar, but also very, very different. And so I have always seen them as counterparts. However, if they existed in the same universe, then what exactly does that make Red to Ash? There have been theories going around before that potentially Red could be Ash's father. Again, an idea I've never been truly convinced by. And to be clear, when I'm talking about Ash being in the games, I'm not talking about the same Ash from the show. I'm talking about a new Ash that exists within the world of the games. Similar to how you have Red from the games, but then Red from Pokemon Origins. They're two separate, again, parallel versions of each other. The thing is, this idea kind of raises up a lot of questions about, let's say, Gary and Blue, who again, does that mean that there's two very similar characters existing in the same world? Could one be the other's son? There have been hints to Ash existing in the Pokemon world before, with a special event Ash Pikachu from the Diamond and Pearl era. And there is now one other bit of evidence, which is technically a spoiler because it hasn't been officially revealed yet, but it was found through data mining. I am going to spoil it for you, but it's tiny, I promise. In 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. You totally had time to click away if you wanted to. There are Pikachus wearing Ash's different hats in the game. It's like a customizable option, I guess. As well as that, in the Delta episode, Steven talks about Alan, another character we thought to be exclusive to the show, a character that meets up and battles Ash. So it really is possible that some version of Ash exists within the game universe. Now, interestingly, when he goes to Alola, Ash is 10 years old, as he is with every other region, but by the time Red is having his adventure in Alola, he's like 20 or 30. This may well add more to the idea that Ash is Red's little brother or son. My favourite gear is number 2, that this is actually Red's Greninja, not Ash's Greninja. I hope that's the case. That said, of course, you're going to have to leave a comment and let me know what you think. Whose Greninja is this? Is Red existing in the same world as Ash? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you again to today's amazing sponsors, Pokemon Sun and Moon Amino. Don't forget, links at the top of the description. While writing this video, I came up with another theory about Red, which is coming out next week. I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to bringing it to you. And of course, leave me a comment. Which solution is your favorite, or do you have a fourth better solution? So hi, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeepertoby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.